The obligation is going to be met. Yes, it's true. Okay, you did your job. But we all know what bosses are looking for.
A difference, bringing in money and getting lots of viewers. He thinks Davis should show he's a true leader in boxing by making the rematch happen. Stephen A. Smith is telling Gervonta Davis to agree to a rematch with Lamont. He says real champions go beyond just doing the bare minimum. According to Smith, boxing isn't just about contracts, it's also about making a difference, bringing in money, and getting lots of viewers. He thinks...
Yes, it's true. Okay, you did your job. But we all know what bosses are looking for. They're looking for the exceptions to the rules, not the rules. You want somebody that's about having an impact, that's about making sure that it's fair.
Smith said that Davis wants the rematch to show he belongs at the top of boxing and to clear up any doubts from their last fight. Even though Davis has many other choices before retiring, going for a rematch shows he really cares about his legacy. He's shown he's ready to fight Roach again, which proves he wants to settle things from the first fight and is serious about getting back. In the Ring, Interview 3. In their first fight, Lamont Roach showed he was strong and skilled. He stood toe
right back. I'm believing him. I didn't see him hurt or anything like that. I get that part. I saw him hurt when he got popped with a counter from Lamont Roach and he stumbled backwards because he got hit with a shot while throwing a punch in an earlier round. So I'm certainly not going to do that. Here's the important point to mention. All of us got to stand down and give Lamont Roach an apology. I thought that brother was going to get beat down because I saw a dude that was a bantamweight champion. I said, why are you moving up to fight this guy? Why is Gervonta Davis taking this fight? This guy's too small. What the hell is going on? He was a featherweight champion. You're a lightweight. What the hell is going on? Why would you take that fight? I didn't understand it. What I didn't know is that once Lamont Roach stepped into the ring, he would be the bigger fighter. What I didn't know is that once he was in the ring and he looked like the bigger fighter, he fought like the bigger fighter because, ladies and gentlemen, from opening bell, he walked right to Gervonta Davis, walked right to him and stayed in his face all night long. If he backed up at all, ladies and gentlemen, it was fire.
Well-known boxing expert Teddy Atlas said a rematch between Davis and Roach needs.
That once Lamont Roach stepped into the ring, he would be the bigger fighter. What I didn't know is that once he was in the ring and he looked like the bigger fighter, he fought like the bigger fighter because, ladies and gentlemen, from opening bell, he walked right to Gervonta Davis, walked right to him and stayed in his face all night long. If he backed up at all, ladies and gentlemen, it was 5% of the time. The other 95% of the time, he walked right to Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis caught him with some good shots. He took it and then gave it back. Body punches, counter punching, left hook, straight rights. This brother Lamont Roach can fight. And he's beautiful defensively as well. And seemed completely unfazed and undeterred by Tank Davis, a knockout artist.
He thinks there are still questions from their first fight that haven't been answered. But he's not sure the rematch will actually happen because no one has taken responsibility for the referee's calls in the first.
A boxing fan, that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we taking?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
Atlas spoke out against how boxing is today, saying that fame and power often decide who wins instead of real skill. He's frustrated with unfair decisions that put money and hype above the sport's honesty. Atlas feels this has damaged the true spirit of boxing, leaving loyal fans feeling let down. His comments point to a bigger problem about whether the sport is still fair and trustworthy.
I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers, unfortunately.
But we need the rematch and we'll get it. But I touched on last night during the live stream, it's the great Angelo Dundee with Ali when he couldn't see and he was blinded. He didn't say go out there and call a timeout, take a knee. Go and run, move until you can see. And just to be able to go out there and call a timeout, you know, it's like being in the schoolyard. Oh, do over. unbelievable. This has to be addressed. This can't just continue. This referee must be sat down and reprimanded, and hopefully we get some answers and we get the rematch.
We won't. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I am, but I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical, but this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone's going to reprimand this referee. I don't. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I could think of, but we're not getting one right now. But the last thing I want to say to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to finish with the great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing.
Many boxing experts and fans thought Gervonta Tank Davis would win by knockout in his first fight with Lamont Roach. Davis is known for his strong punches and aggressive style, so people expected him to finish the fight quickly. But as the fight went on, Roach proved he was tough. He took Davis's punches and hit back well. His strong performance surprised a lot of people and went against what most had predicted. Since there was no knockout, some started to question Davis's strategy and if Roach had exposed any weaknesses. The fight left fans debating the true skills of both fighters.
What are you going to do? I love my sport that I've been in for 50 years. I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that. I love the fighters. I admire the fighters. I try to defend the fighters the best I can. But that was appreciated by me. To see, I appreciate Floyd Mayweather. I appreciate Sugar Ray Leonard. I appreciate, all those great fighters.
After the fight, Davis didn't seem sure about having a rematch with Roach. He talked about wanting to fight other opponents instead, which suggests his next match might be against someone new. This shows that Davis has many choices in his boxing.
I expected to see a knockout. I expected to see it come at the hands of Gervonta Tank Davis against a dude that I thought was undersized, that I thought was not on the same level. And my God, was I wrong. So I thought it was apropos that on this particular day, more than a week after Lamont Roach showed up at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, and let everybody know, yo, I'm no joke either. Y'all don't know who the hell I am. I'm here to reintroduce him to the world. A guy that many believe should be the lightweight champion of the world in the sport of boxing. The one and only Lamont Roach joins me.
9 boxing experts are strongly in favor of a rematch, saying Lamont Roach deserves a fair shot at a clear result. They believe the first fight left many questions unanswered, so a second fight is needed to set things straight. A rematch would let both Roach and Gervonta Davis prove who the better fighter really is and finally put all the doubts to rest. Interview 10 boxing commentator Showbiz thinks that Davis, as the stronger fighter, would make the right changes in a rematch to win clearly. This view shows that both fighters might adjust their strategies in a future fight to do better and fix what went wrong the first time.
The plan was I was going to call out someone in the ring, and then the journalists are like, well, who? I can't say. Well, who are you going to call out? Well, you saw he was in my locker room. And then everyone starts doing the math. The only fighter that came in the locker room of Gervonta Davis was Jake Paul.
Oh, Jesus.
Jake Paul was in attendance. Jake Paul was in attendance with his business manager, Nikisa Badarian. Do the math there.
Tank has taken losses all over the place. He didn't lose in the ring, but in terms of his profile, in terms of things he's saying, in terms of how he looks, he's taken losses. I'm
just gonna say, man, I like Tank Davis. I have a nice working relationship with him, but you cannot deny that his image took a hit, and it what it showed to me, Chris, is every dog has its day, not in a good way. He's 30-0 heading into this fight. He's the man. He's the #1 ticket seller. He's a pay-per-view attraction. He knocks everyone out. He puts freaking butts and seats. That place was full to the brim.
Packed.
With
Like
weed, I was
sardines in
high.
there.
Weed
Yeah,
smoke. I was stoned.
too.
Were you stoned Saturday night? I was a little stoned.
Yeah, I had a headache driving home.
And maybe that has something to do with me walking out of there. But the hate that came out immediately after from fighters, Devin Haney, Teofimo, Shakur, to everyone, Berlanga, to the fans who have been just waiting for this moment.
Bud chimed in too.
Well, Davis has talked shit about literally everyone too. Like Davis was on his perch, as like this PBC guy who is
Gets
just
paid, who puts butts in seats, who knocks everybody
Right.
out,
and it was warranted. Like Davis was the man. He's knocking everyone out, and you're selling out. What more can you do in this sport? Like that's the name of the game: make money, knock people out, fame, notoriety, and all that. So the minute he was going to slip up, and no one thought it was going to come in this fight against Lamont Roach. The minute Tank slipped up, you knew that everyone was going to come out with their pitchforks. Everyone was going to come out with their knives.
Reports say the rematch might happen as soon as June 21st. This suggests that both fighters are eager to get back in the ring and settle things quickly. The upcoming rematch, Roach is expected to improve his strategy to counter Davis's strengths better. Meanwhile, Davis will likely focus on defending his title more carefully, aiming to avoid the mistakes from their first fight. The first bout ended in a draw, leaving fans and analysts debating who the real winner was. This result has led to more calls for a rematch to settle the score and determine a clear.
And I concur with Dan Rayfield. A win taken away from Lamont Roach in such a big moment changes so many things. He deserves this win, and I feel like they took it from him.
Chris, rematch in Brooklyn. Let's run it back. I want to see it again. I was there. It was
Brooklyn.
The energy was great in there.
What about Vegas? Less taxes.
Well, that's
Brooklyn,
that's a good
the
point.
scene of the crime. Go back to it and
They take a lot of taxes in New York.
Yeah, I want the justice in the room.
Well, thank you. Justice in the same state would be absolutely fantastic. Don't forget Lamont Roach Jr. joining us later in the week to discuss this fight, his thoughts on it, his emotions, his feelings. It's all right here on Pro Box TV. Find out when millions are watching.
Prominent commentator Joe Rogan didn't hold back in criticizing Gervonta Tank Davis for hesitating to commit to a rematch with Lamont Roach. Rogan dismissed Davis's excuse, especially his claim of having something in his eyes during the fight, calling it a weak excuse. He argued that fans deserve a clear rematch because of the controversy surrounding the first fight. Rogan also expressed shock that the referee didn't count a key moment as a knockdown, suggesting this mistake might have changed the outcome. He stressed that boxing needs to maintain fairness and accountability for true competition. A key moment in the fight was when Davis took a knee in the 9th round, but it wasn't counted as a knockdown. This controversial decision by the referee has been a major point of debate about the fight's.
As far as the rematch, Gervonta versus Lamont Roach, who do I got? I got Gervonta, and possibly by knockout.
Fuck showbiz.
There's a lot of people that say that wasn't really quite Gervonta Davis. Me, on the other hand, I think Gervonta needed his ass whipped. I think victory was defeating Gervonta. Gervonta's been doing the same damn things, thinking, okay, this should beat you. I'm going to collect the data, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to turn up. And Lamont was ready for all that shit. What I'm saying is, I think Gervonta is a greater fighter than Lamont Roach. And I think Gervonta is going to make those adjustments. Now, I know I brought up Roy versus Tarver. And Lamont Roach can definitely look at Gervonta and say, any hair grease in your eye tonight, Tank? He could do that. And I think that'll be classic. But you could compare it to the Montel Griffin fight, right? The first fight, Roy and Montel, they were going at it. And Roy kind of figured him out later. The second fight, Roy just blew him out. Tank, he can do that. So, I got 800 again on Tank tonight.
Some analysts think Roach would have a big advantage in a rematch, pointing to his strong performance in the first fight and his ability to take advantage of the weaknesses he noticed in Davis's strategy.
Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr.'s rematch is set for June 21st. Now, I spoke about this the other day that this rematch could be happening in June, and look like that's what it's going to be. Now, Lamont Roach, in order to beat Tank, he's going to have to do a little bit more than what he did the last fight. He either has to knock Tank out or do more than what he did the last time and make sure Tank doesn't do more than what he did last time. in order to get the victory against Gervonta Davis. Now, Gervonta Davis still has a 0 on his record. He now has a draw on his record against Lamont Roach. So hopefully this fight really goes down in June. It's supposed to be June 21st in Las Vegas, the rematch. Many want to see because many thought that Roach won the fight and the knockdown should have counted, which the knockdown did not count. It is what it is. So we got to go back in there and see if we can do a little bit more, stay focused, and get the victory. Or same thing goes to Tank. You know, Tank got to prove to the people that Roach is not better than him and Roach is not on his level. That's up to Tank Davis. We don't know if Tank just wasn't focused that night or Lamont Roach really has his number. I'm looking for Tank to maybe finish the fight this time, but to be honest, I don't think that Tank will be able to knock out Lamont Roach like he's been knocking out his opponents in the past, because Lamont Roach was taking some of his best shots. Some people think that because these two guys are friends, Tank didn't want to knock him out. And Tank said after the fight that he could have did a little bit more. So with that being said, maybe there's some truth to that, and maybe there isn't any truth to that. But we will find out on June 21st in Las Vegas. So be on the lookout for that. Who do you expect to win in this rematch? Holla at you.
15 Davis's trainer recognized Roach's skills and said their original strategy was well planned. He mentioned that only small adjustments would be needed for the rematch, showing confidence in their original game plan. Interview 16, that's all for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.
Oh, fight fans, did you catch that Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach bout? Talk about controversy. The judges called it a draw. But let's be real, a lot of people think Roach got robbed. Both fighters brought their A-game, showing off some serious skills in the ring. Roach was on fire, landing clean shots and outworking Tank in several rounds. But Tank had his moments too, showcasing that explosive power we all know. But Tank going on one knee or being wobbled didn't swing it toward Roach. I don't know about that, but either way, now everyone's buzzing about an upcoming rematch. I mean, who wouldn't want to see these two go at it again? What's your take? Did Roach deserve the W, or was the draw fair? Drop your thoughts below and let's break down this fight.